Episode 132, Raiding the Kingdom. Das win, baby. Week 9 review, Week 10 preview. I feel like the season just started. We're already heading into Week 10. Coach, how are we on this lovely Tuesday evening?
Doing good, man. It really is. I mean, when you think about it, we're going into Week 10. As always, the good times fly by, right? Like anytime you're on vacation or anything like that, it's like you're there and then it's over.
Right.
I mean, we still got we got plenty of football left. Let's not kid ourselves here, and a lot of really good football left too. But it is crazy we're at Week 10 for sure.
Right. And while I try to tell myself, the season does extend into February. In all actuality,
Raiders, yes.
Right. For like you, it'll go into January. Mine will go into the mandatory one game in January, and then that's it. And then I'm waiting until the first weekend in September because we don't count preseason as actual football.
Exactly.
So same thing as just XFL stuff. So there we are. But hey, another one of those rare gem of a weeks where the Raiders and the Chiefs win. I mean, you guys always win, and then the Raiders, pick and choose when they want to. But let's go into, because you had arguably one of the best. I'd say you guys and then the Cowboys, Eagles were the two best matchups of the weekend. So you were in Germany, yeah?
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, in Frankfurt. Oh, yeah. Oh, we got the win. Oh, yeah.
Well, it was fantastic. You did get the win, yeah.
We did get the win. So obviously a great game. I don't think there's really a better way to start your Sunday morning than 8:30 here in the Central. And it was 9:30 back east.
Yeah.
And I know it's got to be crazy for those people out in the Pacific at 6:30. They're waking up to a primo football game like that. But great win. From top to bottom. Like, this was honestly like the first week that I've honestly had the free time where I could just like literally had nothing going on, no work, nothing extra, where I could just fully dedicate my morning to watching the Chiefs play. And it was what a way to start. What a game. They showed up again. That the defense just pretty much shutting down Tyreek Hill. I think Jalen Waddle getting hurt in the first helped them, but I mean that wasn't necessarily the deciding factor. Obviously, Raheem Mostert had a good game for the aforementioned Dolphins, but we got the win 21-14. The Dolphins definitely made it interesting there at the end. But we went into halftime, up 21-0. So I was feeling really good. And that play between McDuffie and Tyreek Hill was like one of those just like iconic moments, right? McDuffie pretty much, in a sense, was part of the trade for Tyreek Hill,
because you guys used one of the picks you got from the Dolphins.
Yeah, so
that was the Karlaftis draft, right?
Yeah, right. So McDuffie became part of what the whole Tyreek thing became, right? You never want to lose a guy like Tyreek. We talk about it on the podcast. I talk about it with you privately. Other friends, it's like, dude, is Tyreek even real? And he is real because we made him more of a
he's human.
He's human. We made him.
He's not superhuman.
We made him human. The crazy thing is, like, when it comes to like massive games, Steve Spagnuolo does an incredible job of like showing up and coming up with a great game plan. Whether it was in 2007 with when he's with the Giants and stopping the Patriots from perfection, to the time he's been here with the Chiefs, he is, I think, learned, especially after what he saw maybe like with McDaniels and some of these other guys, it's like it's okay to be just a really good coordinator. You can get paid well. You don't have to deal with all the BS of being a head coach. I know it's the title and it's a pride thing for these guys, and a lot of them like, oh, I want another shot. It's like, dude, you got a good thing going here in KC. You have done a great job of building that defense. From Bob Sutton to him, it's been a whirlwind. I know we're getting off topic and we're just talking about the Dolphins and Chiefs, but we won 21-14. McKinnon had a nice touchdown. Patty didn't have fill the stat sheets up game, as far as yards and stuff goes. So so obviously still threw for 2 touchdowns, threw for under 200 yards, but did enough to lead him to another win, and just shows that the Dolphins, who are 0-3 against winning teams and 6-0 against losing teams, once they, it was
that
that
70 piece, because that 70 piece on the Broncos is a lot less impressive if you can't do something like that. That's what we're all saying, this high powered offense.
Yeah, we're all
when
saying
they're playing against these good teams. No, it's a head nod in your favor, dude.
In my favor. And obviously the Chiefs have lost to the Broncos and really haven't put up any points against them. So I don't know necessarily what that says, but when the lights are on, you have the brightest and against teams that are of quality, it's a different thing for the Dolphins. I still think they're a good team. I still think they have the ability to obviously win the East, and they could be a formidable opponent in the playoffs without a doubt. Because when you got Tyreek Hill and you got those offensive weapons, and that secondary is starting to get good. But I would have liked to score it again in the second half. But Brian Cook running it all the way back from McDuffie on that play, looking like a Scooby-Doo villain. Scoring that touchdown was a thing of beauty. I was going absolutely nuts. I think I texted you, was like, some explicit stuff, so I won't say it on the podcast in case any of our younger listeners want to listen. Great win, man. 21-14. We got the bye week coming up, and can relax a little bit, just get everyone a little bit more healthy, because every team, has got some people bruised up. And we did this all without Nick Bolton. Willie Gay had an incredible game. That linebacking core with him, Dan Tranquil, and who am I missing? My guy,
Willie Gay.
What?
You said Willie Gay,
Willie Gay, Tranquil, and God, why am I blanking out? Leo Chanel.
I'm thinking about
Leo Chanel. Great win. And the caveat to all of that was I was later on in the day, I was drinking with some buddies, was not intoxicated, but the little thing popped up on my Chiefs app and said, "Hey, spend $100-something and you can win a mystery jersey." It's like I was feeling confident. I went for that. Don't know what that is. I'm thinking.
You said autographed, right? Autographed.
It's an autograph, right? It's an autograph,
that's
authentic jersey, right? So I don't know when I'm getting that. Hopefully that correlates with the next time we do the podcast. And I know all your Raiders
put it up for the people to see. Yeah, I mean,
nothing more to see than me open a Chiefs box with a signed jersey. But I think we're going to do that, make it a little fun.
Yeah, let's do that. And I texted you during the game because I was so excited that we had football at 9:30, and I had picked the Dolphins to win. Obviously, that blew up in my face. But I texted you that I think Tua talked his way out of the MVP conversation in that game because he really just didn't look good. And it's not like your secondary was letting up, but there were a lot of opportunities there and a lot of high passes, a couple thrown at their feet that I just didn't understand. I don't know. I don't know. It just wasn't clicking for him that day when Tyreek kind of talked a lot of game and needed Tua to help him back it up, and just didn't work out that way. So, we thought this could be the game where you guys really missed Tyreek, and he lets you know it, but it didn't really come to fruition that game. So another win for you guys. What are you, 6-2? No, 7-2. 7-2. Yeah. Well, so a great win for Coach. Raiders are nipping at your heels at 4-5. But we also came away with a W. Home game, first game without Josh McDaniels. He's fired. He's gone. And the Antonio Pierce era begins. And I don't know how much of the game you were watching, but there was just an energy on the field. He even had the practice squad players on the sideline, which is not a thing that most teams do, let alone something McDaniels definitely didn't do. But tons of energy. The guys look happy to play, and they were rolling from the get-go. Took Daniel Jones out early. He ended up tearing his ACL, not off the Crosby sack, but shortly after the non-contact. So his season was kind of already done, but now it's done. From there on, they just kind of poured it on. The Raiders ended up winning 30-6, putting points in every quarter. Statistically, they've just scored in the first quarter and then not much for the next three. They did 7, 17, and then they were limited to field goals in the second half. So I was getting a little nervous, but that's just classic. As a Raiders fan, you can never really relax during any kind of game that they have. But overall, it was just a rebirth, I think, for the team. even though he didn't have a stellar night, Devontae Adams was clearly happy with the win. He only had 4 receptions for 32 yards. Jacobs, 26 carries, 98 yards, 2 touchdowns. Still only averaged 3.8 per carry, so not outstanding. But Aiden O'Connell, 16 for 25, 209 yards, no interceptions, didn't throw for any touchdowns. But I just couldn't be more happy. Trey Tucker, our 3rd-round receiver, finally putting on the Jets. He only had 2 receptions, but it was for 52 yards, and one was a massive, great catch on his behalf, a little bit ahead of him, dived out for it, great hands. But kind of like the Chiefs game, while the offense was complimentary, the defense was just out of control. Max Crosby, 3 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, 3 quarterback hits, 6 pressures. Amik Robertson, the little cornerback who had the really outstanding interception against the Patriots, I think that was the game winner. That was a pass. He had 2 pass defended and another very acrobatic interception. And he said at the end, he goes, I told you guys, I'm an offensive guy that plays defense, which I kind of like as a quote there. And then Nate Hobbs with a pick. In total, the Raiders had 8 sacks, 9 quarterback hits, and 26 pressures on what's a Tommy DeVito, who took over after Danny Dimes out. Jersey Shore. He didn't do terribly. He went 15 for 20, but he also did throw 2 interceptions, and he was under pressure all night long. And Max Crosby was just feasting. But the real headliner wasn't them winning. A lot of people were saying they kind of overdid the celebration. They're in the locker room with the cigars and they're dancing. And Mark Davis ditched the bowl cut. I don't know if you saw that, but he's taking selfies with Max. I think that what you're seeing is not I always kind of thought it was overblown for guys to do that after games. Obviously, I'm going to be biased because it's the Raiders, but this was more you could tell the rules, not the rules and totally are gone, but the curtain's been lifted. There's a little sunlight here. People always said that no matter I think Edelman would always talk about it, even though they won, it just wasn't fun in New England. Winning is fun, but the culture in New England was not fun. I don't think the culture in Vegas was fun. It's kind of a new age of football players also where they all just can't be focused and gritty and deal with it and still lose at the same time. So they had fun, they won, the energy is there. They clearly are playing hard for Antonio Pierce, similar to when Rich Bisaccia took over after Gruden was let go. So we'll see how things ride. We got an interesting game on primetime Sunday night that we'll talk about in a little bit. But yeah, I just love it. I love the whole thing. It was a blowout win. It had to happen. They needed it. And I thought we could have lost this one after we lost to the Bears. So glad came out with the W. 4-5, still in it. Now we're picking 11th in the draft, which I don't know about, but that's something for later down the line. But I don't know. What were your takeaways, Coach? You were kind of keeping an eye on everything, and you also thought the cigars might have been a little much, and then you and I talked, and you're like, all right.
No, I can't say how I feel about that because I've had a good coach, right? Everyone loves Andy Reid. So culturally, before, you had Romeo Crennel and all that other stuff, and he wasn't a bad guy. So I don't think it was the same, iron fist that Josh McDaniels did. But from everything I've read, they had that team meeting and a lot of things were said to Josh McDaniels. He was very butthurt by it. Sometimes people just can't take criticism. And the more I thought about it, I think it was free at last. Thank God we're free at last. It's we actually have a coach that gets us. Antonio Pierce was, integral part of those Giants teams that beat the Patriots. Right. He seems like he's a player's coach, but still is going to hold guys accountable. Just a new era. So it'll be interesting to see how they finish off the season, how all that's handled in the offseason. Obviously, I think the Rich Bisaccia thing is something that, like you and me talked about, is something that they're going to have to think about because, getting the big name coach isn't always the right move. I know you don't want to go with another first-year coach, but if Antonio Pierce has got the locker room, that says a lot. But again, we're going into week 10. There's a lot of football left. You're going to see what Aiden O'Connell is made of if he's your guy. And if you keep winning, I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, but you're in a very, very kind of just, it's a weird spot, right? I think this was a very good team win. It kind of got everyone's spirits up, but you also got to think like, is O'Connell the guy? Is Pierce going to stay? What's going to happen? I know you have to just, they're not trying to tank, but I don't know. It's a very weird spot, I think, because
right.
There's still a lot of things that they need. And like, I was listening to the radio and, it was actually Mike Lombardi's dad, who's the offensive coordinator. Was it Mike Lombardi? Was it
Mick Lombardi was the offensive coordinator that also got let go. But Mike Lombardi, his father, used to be a front office executive.
Okay, yeah, Mike. So yeah, Mick. Okay, Mike was on the radio and he was talking about, the Raiders and the situation. And
he was around for the Al Davis days.
Yeah, so Lombardi was with, back in the day, was with one of the greatest, football minds and builders of teams, and Bill Walsh. He said you can't build a team around a receiver, right? And that's essentially what the Raiders did, right, with Devontae. So he was a little shocked that they kept him at the deadline, but you need to obviously get him a quarterback and they've done everything in reverse, is what I'm trying to say. So the talent that's there hopefully gets shown now with the new regime and everyone being new, but you beat the Giants team that had a third string quarterback named Tommy DeVito that was, fist pumping and doing Jaeger bombs 2 weeks ago. So take it as it is. It's a win. It's an NFL. Like I said, a win's a win. We'll take it. But just know you got, week 11, you got us, bro. You got us, dog. You got us, dog. So something to just prepare yourself for. Take the win, man. I felt good for you guys that you guys got the win. It was a victory, and you could just see that it was just like a release of tension.
Right. I think, and maybe any kind of like sloppiness that might have been there can be dialed up when we play, we'll say, real teams down the line. One of the bright spots here is, they still have Kayvon Thibodeau. They still had Dexter Lawrence. Both those guys, as a team, they logged, I believe, 1 quarterback hit and 0 sacks. So even with those two pretty above average pass rushers on their D-line, they weren't able to get a lot done. But there were some throws that AOC is lucky weren't picked off, things of that nature. So clean up the sloppy stuff, get ready for the real teams, because we got a pretty tough defense coming this week for them. But I think kind of what you hit on with the receiver thing, though, is so we heard that before we go to our predictions, we heard that Mark Davis had meetings with some of the stars on the team, Crosby, Jacobs, Devontae Adams. And one thing that always comes to mind is you have those names on your team and you're doing as bad as you are. That's significant. But Mark Davis may be more of a player's owner than like his father was. No one was above Al Davis, and he took input, but at the end his say was his say. But if he had Devontae, Crosby, and Jacobs coming in his office saying this guy's a clown and he stinks, I could see him making a move just for that fact alone. Like, his best friend was Cliff Branch, one of the better receivers the Raiders ever had, who won 3 rings with them. And I think he kind of aligns himself with the players sometimes a little more than most owners would. So that's just something to think about when we talk about his style of ownership. But I'm not mad he made the decision he made. It would have been really bad if this was a blowout loss, but it didn't end up happening that way. So
I don't even know if I think we just had a cardboard cutout of you if you guys had got smoked by the Giants.
Yeah, I would have just been talking like this all the time. Not show my face. But yeah, if you're good, let's move to our Week 10 predictions.
Let's not worry about the Week 9 results
Well, I have to go over them for the fans. So I went 9 for 14. Coach went 6 for 14. I thought reverse. I thought you had the Chargers last night, but you had the Jets. Zach Wilson let you down big time. But we'll see how we do. So the final, well, not final, but the score now, I'm at 91. Coach at 78 for the season. Heading into Week 10. This is one of the grossest Thursday night football games ever. Coach, Panthers at Bears.
I'm going to go with the Panthers.
I'm going to go Panthers as well. I don't really have a lot to say on it. I heard Brian Burns isn't going to play and somebody else decent, but it's just it's so gross. I don't even want to watch it, but I guess I will. All right, 9:30, another Jamini game. Colts at Patriots. there's a rumor flying around today that Bill Belichick will be fired if they lose to the Colts. I don't know if they'll. I don't. Even though I despise the Patriots, as do you, this is a safe space. We don't like them. I think it's kind of a dishonorable way to let that guy go that brought 6 Super Bowl rings to your franchise.
Yeah, I mean, at least wait till the end of the season. A mid-season
Yeah.
firing is just, I think, a little bit.
And on a 14-hour flight home, do you really want to fire the guy? Could be an awkward plane ride, you know?
Mhm.
I mean, I know it won't be done right as soon as the game ends, but let's just say I'm going to go with the Patriots to beat the Colts. I think if they think there's even an inkling, they can't let him down in that fashion by losing.
You know, I'll take the Pats too. I feel like it will be the Colts, but I'll go with the Pats for Bill.
This was one game where I initially took the other and then went with you. So I'm going Patriots. We'll stick with that. Coach, 1:00, AFC North matchup, Browns at Ravens.
I'm gonna take the Browns.
What? Okay, wow. Did you watch the Seahawks Ravens game last week?
Mm-hmm.
I did because I had Geno Smith in 2 of my fantasy leagues, and he got me 2 points.
Speaking of Geno Smith,
oh
this
my
is what I
God.
did. This is what I did. You know what I did? I said, you know what, CJ Stroud, I'm gonna drop you for Geno Smith.
No. Oh God. Well, if it makes it work, so my brother, who used to be the co-host on the show, I played against him in our fantasy league. He started CJ Stroud. I started Geno Smith. I lost by 4 points. If Geno had just thrown 1 touchdown, I might have been all right, but he didn't. I don't know. So, anyways, the Ravens, we got way off track there because neither of those teams are the Browns or the Ravens. But the Ravens' defense is legitimate, possibly the best in the league. Lamar Jackson's hitting it. Even though Odell Beckham had a touchdown, I'm going to go Ravens over the Browns, even though that defense is superb. Ravens. I've got Texans at Bengals. I'm going Bengals.
Bengals, yeah, they're rocking and rolling. I think the Texans are good.
I'm so annoyed, dude. This is what we talked about. The Bengals start off slow, then they hit their stride when they need to, and then they're good again. I thought for sure they might finally be bad. I was wrong.
No.
So we're both taking Bengals. Coach, 49ers at Jaguars.
49ers. The 49ers are not going to lose 4 straight or whatever it is.
I'm going Jags. Mixing it up. Jags are on a hot streak. They're going to the 49ers are already in their heads with the losing streak. Let's make it 4. Jags with the win. Duval. Saints at Vikings. I'm going to take Derek Carr and the boys. See on the shirt? DC4 right there. You can get the shirt from DC4L Customs. But anyways, I'm going Saints over Vikings. The Josh Dobbs thing was a cool storyline, but
I'm going to take the Vikings. I'm already in the gutter, dude.
I mean, I just took the Jags with the 49ers. Like, there's a chance for you right there to surge ahead. Coach, this one is the other one where I crossed out a team and then picked the other one. Packers at Steelers.
Steelers.
I'm going Steelers too. I had Packers initially, and then I thought about it, and I'm just like, Austin was at the game, Rams and Packers, and that worked out in his favor. But, you know, kind of like the Giants game, they were playing Brett Rippon, and we were playing Tommy DeVito. And I don't know. I think Mike Tomlin is just the guy's always going to be in the game. He's always going to keep his boys. And I think TJ Watt is just going to have his way with that O-line. And Cam Hayward is back. I think Jordan Love is going to – the train will be derailed this weekend.
Do you know CJ Stroud already has more touchdowns, total touchdowns, than Kenny Pickett does?
I'm not surprised. It's kind of like the Titans are the worst good team. They're so bad to watch. I don't like watching their offense at all. It was like watching Josh McDaniels' offense. Yeah, but that defense is pretty sharp. So I'm going to go Steelers in that as well. Titans at Bucks. I'm going Buccaneers over Mayo Man. Baker Mayfield.
It was all a lie. I'm going to take the Titans. I go down with the ship like a Captain Ahab.
I mean, they seem kind of revigorated. We'll see. I don't know. Coach, the first 4:05 game, Falcons at Cardinals. Kyler Murray not returning this week. I think next week.
Falcons.
I'm going Falcons as well. Taylor Heineke bringing it back. Did you see that quote by Arthur Smith?
No. Oh, about how Bijan Robinson's a good decoy or something?
Yeah, pretty much like excellent things can happen when he's away from the ball. then don't draft a running back with the eighth pick overall, because we were there when it happened. Bijan Robinson walked right by us. Super cool. Yeah, it's like drafting Kyle Pitts to block. That's a third pick overall and an eighth pick overall, and you use them both to block more than you do to receive or run. All right, but I'm still going to pick the Falcons. I just think he should be fired for that comment. Coach, you got kind of an exciting one. Lions at Chargers.
Lions.
I'm going Lions as well. I really didn't think the Chargers were going to win last night, but Zach Wilson is just so bad. It made them look good. 425 Giants at Cowboys. I'm going with We Dem Boys, without a doubt. Coach?
What's up?
Giants at Cowboys?
Cowboys.
Coach, Commanders at Seahawks. Sam Howell versus Geno List Smith.
I'll go Seahawks.
You know what? Because I'm mad at him, I'm going to reverse my pick, and I'm going to take Commanders. You get Seahawks. We'll do my game after. Monday Night Football is Broncos at Bills. Do we need to talk about this one? Are you serious? Because they beat you guys?
But the Broncos have been playing better, and the Bills have been playing pretty crappy.
Yeah. I'm going to go Bills. I'm not going to get... You don't have to get...
I'm going to go Bills because Bills have to win this game.
If they lose... That new stadium's going to get torn down.
If the Bills lose, Sean McDermott will get fired. I'm pretty confident.
Yeah, because this is supposed to be the Super Bowl year after the Super Bowl year after Super Bowl year, and right now they're probably not even going to win the AFC East. All right, and I'm going to backtrack. We have Sunday Night Football, Jets at Raiders. I'm going to go Raiders. The defense is going to be tough to overcome, but I think Zach Wilson is really, really bad. He could have a tune-up game and do some work on us. I think that is a possibility. But I think similar to the Giants, that offensive line is really bad, and he loves to scramble vertically. He doesn't go side to side. He goes backwards. And Max Crosby's going to be hunting. And hopefully Tyree Wilson will move a little faster and hunt as well. So I very much could see that we blow this and lose, but it is at home. Jets are having a rough go with all these losses. I think they're frustrated. I think we could put the nail in the coffin with a W. It's possible. It's within our reach. Raiders. I'm going to go 24-16. 24-16.
Pains me to say it, I'll go Raiders, but low-key, I really low-key feel like the Jets will win. I don't want to dive any deeper
Into the hole.
Into the abyss, yeah.
Because we have dissension on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games. And you almost tried to take the Broncos and the Bills, which is crazy. But that's it. Raiders taking over the Jets. I'm really just kind of nervous about Breece Hall. They have to limit him. There's a really good, now that I think about it, God, I'm getting more nervous. And Garrett Wilson, and we just don't do well against stars. Like Saquon Barkley still averaged 5.8 yards a carry. 5.8? Yeah. 5.6. But I'm going to roll with my boys. I said I would when they win. They won. And that's it. Do we have a Jackson Mahomes Award of Excellence? I did not prepare one.
For me, it's the college ranks. It's Caleb Williams, who's been anointed the number one pick for the last year. Loses a game to Washington. He's never beat Washington in his time at USC. Lose by 10 points, and he runs to the crowd and cries in his mom's arms. Right. Then he says he wants to go home and cuddle his dogs and watch shows. And RG3 thinks this is great and that this is the sign of a true leader. I get emotions of the game. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But dude, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? I'm just going to leave it at, you got to be tougher than that, dude. Sorry about your feelings, bro, but If you think
you're not feeling it,
you're going to get eaten alive in the NFL. It's a completely different game. And if you start doing that shit in the NFL, dude, I don't want to follow a guy like that who's going to get that upset. Play better, do better. I mean, I know
the crying. I understand. You see guys cry when they lose the Super Bowl, things like that. It happens.
Yeah, but they don't jump in it's I just thought that was weak.
Yeah. I mean, it's just in the age of social media and stuff, it just all goes around that much quicker. And Michael Penix Jr. is rising the Heisman ranks now.
Yep.
As what's Jaden Daniels from LSU.
He lost. He got hurt. I mean,
he got
Heisman's pretty wide open. It's not.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people thought.
Things get. Remember, Thibodeau was supposed to be the first undisputed first pick overall for the longest time, and he dropped a little bit. So who knows? Maybe Caleb Williams won't be the prize.
It'll be weird. It'll be interesting to see how his tests go at the draft and at the combine, and how.
I think they're going to have a lot of questions, especially with those combine interviews. Somebody, the ownership, they're going to want to know about the ownership thing.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of question marks, a lot of red flag. I'm just going to steal yours. Same thing. Caleb Williams, Jackson. You get 2 Jackson Mahomes Award of Excellence to Caleb Williams. So people said like they want the Raiders to tank for him. Like I'm good. I'm really good. I think his improvisational style is too reckless for the NFL. Also, that's not going to work. Over there, it's like playing Madden, just chucking it. And people say that Mahomes has that style.
He has great physical gifts and talent.
He does.
In between the ears, I don't know if it's there. You can't overcome adversity now. Then how are you going to do in the NFL?
But I mean, and then I wrote an article on this for NFL Spin Zone about his draft stock falling, and one of the big things too was months ago he said he's been humble about it, but then he's also said things that everything that Mahomes is doing, I'm doing that. He's won 2 Super Bowls. You haven't. Stop. It's not true.
Why is my hat crooked?
My hat's crooked?
My hat. I can't get my hat. I mean, it's my.
Well, I see that the comment flustered you. The quote got you upset.
Yeah.
But so there you go. Caleb Williams gets both the Jackson Award, Mahomes of Excellence. First time the same person got the award. But that's us for the Week 9 review for Das Win, baby. Be sure to patronize our sponsors. SeatGeek for all your tickets and Underdog Fantasy for all your betting needs. Promo code RTK. Dial it in. We'll see you all next week. Just win, or Das Win, baby.
Das Win, baby.